Hello and good afternoon. This is the state of the layout. Now, it's probably quite different from the last time you saw it. That's somewhat intentional. Although the difference is quite drastic, the actual time involved has been half a day, which it feels crazy given that between these two turnouts and these two turnouts took me 4 weeks to build over the weekends, and getting this from bare baseboards to what you see here took about 2 hours. So, if you remember the last time you saw this, it was totally flat. There was a cork underlay on the track, which I won't be using again. Like I said, it adds too much. The softness is actually a detriment. With a cutout over here. So on the cutout, I added a flat piece of balsa to provide a surface and just glued that in. And then I added some polystyrene forms. So there's one here, underneath there, and one here. That's just normal polystyrene. I don't really like using it as a material, but it worked okay. And the secret, I guess, so the way I used it, was to ensure that there was no flat surfaces anywhere other than the base. So every single angle sanded, rasped, and cut. So at no point do you have like a ridge that goes down like this, or it all raises up to a plateau. And so every single aspect of that has been shaved down. And even so, still covered it in sculptor mold. So this is sculptor mold here. It's plaster with fibre or paper fibres mixed in. So you mix it with water and you can spread it around, and it's like a very solid clay, or solid in the sense of it retains its shape, but not very dense clay. So you put that all over here, and I've put it on basically every single area you can see other than where it's dark, just to give some undulation to the ground. So even here in the goods yard, you'll see, and there's a little lump over here, there's a lump in the back corner and this side. And that's all intentional, just to create some ground contours. There's nothing worse than seeing a very super flat layout board. I don't think so. There was that, and over here raised up, and you can see just creating those extra contours. I mean, it might be a little difficult because this is a monotone piece of ground, but it dips in over here and it raises up over here, gets steeper in the back and shallower at the front. Now, it's just important just to have all of these contours. One of the things that was quite important to me was to not try and contrive a really tall cutting. If you think this was going to be a bridge or a tunnel, the ground level would have to be up here, and it just wouldn't look plausible at all. So I'm keeping it low-ish, so that when you're looking at it from the side here, you can certainly see the exit. But I'm going to put a big tree here. So unless you're kind of right round here, that's you're going to start seeing the exit, but that's quite oblique onto the layout. But I'm quite pleased with the way it's starting to look. The ground cover is not fully set, so after I placed the sculptor mold on it, I painted it this raw umber colour, this brown, and then sprinkled on coloured tile grout, which is this stuff. And I got this on eBay and Amazon actually as a sample. And this 200 grams is a little bit left. It's done about 5 times what you can see here in terms of surface area. So it's great. You just use a sieve, just sprinkle it on, and it goes on really well. This is the brown I used. I mean, you don't need to use that Woodland Scenic expensive stuff. You can just use regular artist acrylics. This was £5. And it can be diluted, and so then masked the track off, painted, sprinkled, sprayed, took the masking tape off, and then I realised I'd actually masked much more than I needed to, so I went back and just touched up these areas here. So pretty much everything, nothing you see here, or very little of what you see here, will remain visible. This is just the base on which everything else goes. So when I put my static grass on there, and my bushes and trees, my water effects, when I put ballast on, when I paint these sections as well, there is something underneath there. I'm not going to look through and see packing card if I scratch. I'm going to go through the grass, and then go through the dirt, then the paint, and then the sculptor mold, and then there's there. So it's just adding on these layers, just patiently, to ensure that there's some kind of realistic contour and depth to what you're seeing. This line over here, you see at the back, is where I've ineffectually masked off the back when I was spraying the water. So I need to go and tidy that up and tidy this back edge up a bit. And one of the other big changes you can see, or at least one of the things I've bought, is lighting. So this is a strip of LEDs from Amazon again, £10 or £12 for 15 feet. And I'm going to run them through this section here, all the way across the front and back here, pointing that way. Although the camera, when you place the camera down in here, it looks reasonable. The field of view of your eyeball is much bigger than the camera, and actually you get all of that directly in your face when you look underneath the layout. Or at least when you stoop down to layout height. So definitely going to make sure that those are hidden. If it comes down to it, I could potentially place another one of these at the back, maybe facing back and down, to cast light on the back. It's really going to depend on what the shadows look like. Obviously you don't want shadows in the sky, but if I've got enough trees and bushes and hedges, there may be no need for it. So I'll just have to see how that pans out. But there we go. That's what it looks like so far. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased, and I hope you'll join me for the next update.